Did you guys ever listen to The Dream?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Switching sides. Always switching sides. Answers by Guess. What up there, Guess?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, friend. How are you?
I remember back in week 1, I think I said or you said, pretty soon we're going to be like, week 10. How'd that happen?
Feels like an instant, man. Feels
How'd
like an
that
instant.
happen?
I love it. I don't know, dude. I had a 4-0 week last week. A lot of my guys exploded. I felt like all my teams did well, but it's like I'm watching football, though. And it's like, how did my guys do well? I don't know. It was just like a weird week, I felt like last week.
I enjoyed it. My
I
teams
did
did very well. I enjoyed it. I see Craig's here.
What's up there,
Craig?
Craig?
I got a feeling you had to have listened to The Dream, less than a decade ago, 5-6 years ago, when he was on and popping. I have rediscovered him myself. I loved him. God, I'm addicted again. The Dream. If people never listen to him, like some good hardcore R&B, he's where it's at.
Oh yeah,
it's criminally underrated. He got overshadowed by like the Neo and other guys like that were out during the time. But the Dream was so good.
He's saying great, man. All right, let's go through this real quick. Remember, guys, always like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, go on that TikTok, look for us on Patreon and podcasting on Spotify. Always look for those hashtags, Answers by Guess, ABGFF at ABG3P. Guys, that merch is available. $25 for a t-shirt, $45 for a hoodie. One of our guys posted a picture. They look nice, man. He had us even on the big screen. All right, Go through the buys real quick. Week 10, dude, this is a rough week. A lot of fantasy value out there. Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Rams, Miami Dolphins, and the Philadelphia Eagles. As always, if you have any of those players in, get thumbed up out.
I want to Darius has been with us a few times before, and he snuck a question in before we started, so I think we should answer his question for him.
Perfect. I like it. Let's go to some comments. What's up there, Craig? Fresh back from Vegas, dude. I hope you played well. All right. Darius, what's up? Question right off the bat. Should I sit Adams for Debo or Hollywood this week?
Typically, okay. So when I read it the first time, I was thinking, like, should I put Adams in for either one of these two? He would actually be my least favorite just because I have this I don't know if it's wishful thinking. It's going to be his first game back. He's going to be a little rusty. Atlanta's a little above average on defense. But I just got a feeling with Kyler there, Hollywood might have one of his first like real big solid weeks. And Debo's first game back in a while going against Jacksonville. They're really tough to run against, so they might have to get him involved. And, you can't stop CMC. We know that. But Adams would be at least, going against the Jets, going to be tough with their corners. So would I sit Adams for either one? I think Debo is a lot safer. He's healthy. He sat out multiple weeks. He's coming off the bye. It's going to be a game where Jacksonville probably is going to be able to score a little bit. And I think Hollywood just might have a higher ceiling, but you would need a lot of things to align. So if you're going to sit Adams, I'm fine doing it for Debo.
All right. What's up there, Marty? Thank you for putting the hashtag out there, bud. Appreciate that. All right, guys. As always, going out here, ABG3P propositions, preparations, and our preferences on different prop bets for the games of week 10. First one on my list here, Indianapolis Colts at the New England Patriots. Another Germany game. Over under, Michael Pittman Jr., 64.5 receiving yards.
It's quite a bit. I thought New England was going to beat Washington last week. I'm thinking I might have been a little weak early. Colts defense looked okay. Parts. I think New England's going to be able to move the ball. They play a little bit of a zone defense, and Mac Jones is pretty good against the zone typically. Hunter Henry probably will be involved in this game. He'll be on everybody's benches because he's done nothing. So because I think they'll be able to move the ball, and I think Ramondre is going to be able to run all over them, I'm going to go over because I think the Colts are going to have to keep up a little. I think New England's offense is going to surprise a little in the top of the morning from Germany.
All right. It's funny that you mentioned Mr. Hunter Henry. He's someone that was on my mind as well. On the flip side, over under 3.5 receptions.
Yeah, I'm going to go over. I think they're going to feed him. He's pretty good against the zone. And like I said, the Colts run a lot of zone defense from when I watch them and watch them back. It's where they're best. So I'm going to go over.
All right, next game on the list here. San Francisco 49ers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over under, we were just talking about him. Deebo Samuel, 59.5 total yards.
I have no choice. Over. But I do think I mean total, because like I said, they're going to, I think that they'll try and not get him too abused because he's now been knocked out twice. And both times were on the little end arounds they do. But they'll sneak in at least one or two. Jacksonville's tough to run against, so I think a few over the field. Over. I think he gets a touchdown too.
All right, on the flip side, over under Travis Etienne, 16.5 fantasy points, half PPR against this now stacked with Chase Young on their defense.
Yeah,
Can you imagine Bosa and Chase Young going, man? Oh, my God.
Yeah. I'm going to go under. I think that you'll be happy to get him in a half PPR at about 14. So I think that's might be a ceiling in this one. I think Evan Ingram, if they get close, is finally going to get in the end zone. It's all season long. It's kind of ridiculous, but this is where he heated up last year, second half of the season. He's been pretty good. He's top 10 minimum, if not close to the top 5 tight ends. I mean, you got to maybe take Taysom Hill out of the equation, but he's involved, and I think he'll get a touchdown. I think they'll take one away from Etienne, and we'll see if Tank Bigsby steals anything for once in his life. But I'm going to put him at 14.
14. I'm going to put that in here. All right, next game here, Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Over under Amari Cooper, 52.5 receiving yards.
Under. For years, I've called him the fantasy Houdini. Did not like him last week. And I think against the Ravens is going to be tough. I think they're going to
Ravens defense is good, man.
What is it? Is it Tillman?
Tillman, yeah. That's the name that everybody's picking up this week, Ben.
Yeah, so we'll see if he could become the number 2. I mean, he's the number 3 de facto.
They seem like they don't like Elijah Moore, man. They just don't like him. He's got a ton of targets. I think he's most targeted out there, but he's just not catching the ball.
And now it makes you wonder about the Jets. Like, was it the Jets or was it Elijah Moore?
Look at Mims. Was it the Jets or was it Mims? Yeah. Was it Hardman? Another one. He hasn't been playing all that great anyways.
He never has.
Yeah. All right, on the flip side here, over under Mark Andrews, 4.5 receptions.
Against this defense, you'd think under would be safe. I think we might get an Isaiah Likely sighting. He's been gone. Which is crazy, JT, because even last year in his rookie season, he was on the field early and often. I mean, once we got to at least way past this point with Andrews, and then when Andrews went out, he took over. I think we'll see him a little bit because Bateman is trash. Flowers has completely wilted. Pardon the pun. I'm going to go over, though, with Mark Andrews. I'm going to go over. I think that's going to be one of the best ways they do it. Keaton Mitchell, my week 1 pickup for you all, is hurt again.
You can't stay healthy, man.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough to run against them, even with Gus the Bus. They're going to need some short, quick passes for the run game, and that's Mark Andrews.
All right. What's up there, Mart Hill? I got this right this time. I appreciate you guys putting the hashtags out there,
It was
man.
Andrews bye-bye guess is what he put the first time.
All right. Yeah, it's a question. Zach Moss or A.J. Dillon?
God, I don't like either. Moss is losing
This year, man.
And it seems like I could see a situation of an ebb and flow type thing where it's like he was doing fine, and all of a sudden 1 week he disappeared and everybody throws him on the bench, and then you play him or you don't play him this week, he does well. But I'm going to go with Dillon here. I think Aaron Jones is getting more and more burned, but the weather's getting a little colder, and they're going against a tough defense, and A.J. Dillon, when Aaron Jones is there, can get you those tough yards. So they will continue to use him, I think, more than what it seems like the Colts are trying to do with Moss now that JT is fully back. So let's go with Dillon, and I hope he can fall into the end zone if Jordan Love and his inaccuracy allow them to get close enough.
All right, guys. Remember to always like, comment, and share. We appreciate every single one of you. All right, Craig with the question here. Jacobs, Algier, or Murray? All three have really favorable matchups. I need all my guys left to boom if I stand a chance to win this week.
Who the hell's Murray?
Latavius?
Yeah, not him. Jacobs.
Yeah, I would go Jacobs too.
Yeah, against the Jets, I know it's tough, but I'm going Jacobs. He's getting hot right now. He's the full-time guy. Nobody else is taking snaps from him. I'm going Jacobs. I know Murray's going against the Broncos, but no, I'm going to go with Jacobs.
All right, let's jump back into some games here. Houston Texans at the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes or no, Mr. Dalton Schultz with a touchdown. Dude, Stroud looked that game was crazy. That ending and the way they just kept on going back and forth.
Well, without Nico Collins, doesn't look like he's going to play. Opens up a little bit for him, so let's do it. Yeah.
All right. On the flip side here, Mr. Joe Burrow, 276.5 passing yards over under.
I really like Burrow this week, but now with no Higgins, he's got the two.
Chase is questionable too, man.
Yeah. I like it. I'm going to go over. We can get to 280.
Places hoping and wishing, needing a wide receiver 3 this week with some guys out. So, all right. Next one here, New Orleans Saints at the Minnesota Vikings. Over under Alvin Kamara, 89.5 total yards.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under because I think Jamal Williams, as slow as it's been going, and he didn't look good when Kamara wasn't there in the first 3 weeks of the season before he got hurt. He really wasn't doing much, but they will continue to try and get him burned. And, it's the Taysom Hill show as well. And the Vikings defense a little tougher at home. So I'm going to go under. I think the rushing will be the problem, and I don't think he gets over 70 receiving. I could see him around 20-something yards rushing, unless he breaks one, but there's just too many backs there when you count in Taysom Hill. So I'm going to go under. That seems like a low number.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm at under. Vegas always knows something we don't.
I always feel that way, man. I was looking at it too. I'm like, it just seems like it should, but all right. Next one here. I got to talk about him, Mr. Josh Dobbs, 1.5 passing touchdowns. I heard you talking about on Tuesday's show. Dude, you felt the air change as soon as he walked into the game.
And I knew it was going to happen if he got the chance, and he just looks so right in ugly.
What did you call
but
him?
not
Dobbs
ugly.
Pepper?
Dobbs Pepper. He looks just like Dante Culpepper back there, man. You know what's interesting in this one? I gave you a 5 guys for your eyes a couple weeks ago. Jalen Naylor, because KJ Osborne probably not playing, right? If he hasn't been ruled out already, he's got the concussion. I think Jalen Naylor is going to pop off, and I think he'll get one, and I think Hawkinson will get one. So let's go over. I think Jalen Naylor, as long as he plays at least 10 snaps, and that's not a lot of snaps, but he's coming off a big injury, is going to be his first activation. He's a shot play guy. As long as they give him 10 snaps, I think he'll have at least 2 shot plays in him. I think one of them he'll get and take it to the house. We'll see.
All right. KJ Osborne did get a full practice in by Friday, but still is questionable for the game. All right. Let's go to George Play 01's question. Make sure you subscribe, bud. Cade Otton or Njoku?
I'm going to ride the wave with Otton. He's been doing it week after week for the past few. Baker's been playing really well. And I think we haven't talked about it yet, but I think this Tampa Bay Tennessee game is going to be much higher scoring than Vegas is saying it will be. They got it at 39.5. I know that by heart because I plan on jumping on it. I think Levis is going to be able to pass pretty well against Tampa Bay, and I think Baker's can be able to pass pretty well like most people are against Tennessee. So I'm going to ride with Otton. It's a easier matchup through the air than Watson and the Browns are going to have against Baltimore. So Cade Otton, George, thanks for joining us.
All right, Marty with the question here. Luke Musgrave or Gerald Everett? Not a bad question, man. Both showed signs the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I want to say Luke.
You're just so down on him. You're just so down
on him. I know. But and I'm going to, just because they are using Donald Parham, and who knows if Trey McKitty ever finds a field, and they're trying to get Quentin Johnson going, but he can get no separation, runs terrible routes. Davis, they're trying to get going just to find somebody to replace Palmer. I'm going to go Musgrave just because he seems to be, when it gets close, who Love is looking to, even if he has to spin around and do a 360 to do it, which was ugly, and he did last week. It's gross. It's gross being a Green Bay fan right now.
Try being a Jets fan, dude.
I already talked about them on Answers with Guests on Tuesday.
I heard.
But I'm going to go Musgrave, Marty. I think that the volume might be a little lower, but I think you have a better shot at a touchdown with Musgrave.
All right, Darius, one here. If James Conner doesn't play, is that good or a bad thing for Hollywood?
I'm not so sure if it really matters. I mean, I basically did all my analysis with James Conner not even in the picture. I'm only thinking about Kyler Murray. The Atlanta defense is, like I said, a little above average, but they could be beat. And if Kyler at home is trying to make a statement his first game back in basically over a year, he's going to need Hollywood to do it. So I don't think if Conner doesn't play, I think it's probably a better play because James Conner is, the best running back they have. The other two guys have done nothing, and anybody else that they throw out there. So I think it's a better thing because we're looking at longer down in distance, which is better for Hollywood.
All right, let's go back to some games here. We were talking about Luke Musgrave. You said he's going to get a touchdown. Kind of goes into this 7.5 fantasy points, full PPR, over under.
Well, I said I think he has a better chance than Everett.
Oh, sorry.
To get a touchdown. But full PPR, I mean, you would need 2 catches for 1 yard just to get over this if one of them was a touchdown. He can get 4 catches for 35, and that's what we always talk about is our bar for a good week for a tight end. You can get 4 for 36, you're in the positive. So let's go over with a full PPR.
I like it. I like it a lot. On the flip side here, Pittsburgh Steelers over under Najee Harris, 13 rushing attempts. He's been getting the ball a lot, but Warren's been still there, man. He's still creeping in there.
Sooner or later, you know they want it. You know they want Warren to be the guy.
Najee's been playing okay though, man.
He has been. Over. He'll have 13 or more. I mean, you could pass on Green Bay. One of the best ways to beat him is the run. And I think Warren will have a nice game too if you need running back help this week. And he's sitting out there because pass catching backs always give Green Bay problems. They have for so many. It's always been the mobile quarterback and the pass catching backs. And that's Warren. Because Pickett, while he can run, I wouldn't consider him a mobile quarterback.
Agreed. All right, next game here. Tennessee Titans and the Tampa Bay Bucks over under. One of your 5 guys for your eyes. Kyle Phillips, 19.5 receiving yards.
I love it. Way over. He's my favorite DFS play of the week. He's dirt cheap. You can build up the rest of your lineup and throw him in as your third wide receiver or your flex. I love it. I love it. You saw it at the end of the last game. No Treylon Burks. There was obviously a connection between Levis and Phillips once they finally started drawing up plays for him and targets. I think Hopkins is going to have a very nice game against Tampa Bay. Like I said, I think this game is going to be pretty high scoring. It's 39.5 is what Vegas thinks. I think it's going to be well over. I think both teams well into the 20s, if not close to touching 30. Kyle Phillips is going to go way over. That's 1 reception for him.
I like it. I like it. I like it. All right. Next one here. Rachaad White over under 79.5 total yards.
Now here's where it gets interesting. Tampa Bay has been using him and he's been doing well, but the Titans are good against the run.
They are.
You know, and Tampa Bay is good against the run, but I kind of like Derrick Henry in this game. I think he's actually, he might be like over the past 4, 5, 6 weeks, 4 or 5, the number 1 running back, I think, in fantasy, if I'm not mistaken. That's Derrick Henry.
Oh, okay.
White, total yards, they're using a bunch of different backs. I'm going to go under. I think they're going to beat them through the air. I think Godwin, Evans, Otten, I think those are going to be the guys. You know, those throw Trey Palmer in there for you.
All right, dude, Henry, I agree with you, man. We always say it, like this is the time of the year too where he becomes that freight train, and you'll see some games where he'll show up. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I think this Tennessee Titans with Will Levis, dude, that dude's arm, he's flicking his wrist and the ball is just flying.
Yeah.
All right, Marty, with one here. Bye weeks hurt. Olave or Noah Brown?
I got to go Olave.
Yeah, I got to stay.
I get it. Noah Brown had the big week. He's shown flashes for sure. There's no Nico Collins, more than likely.
Mechie's back though.
Yeah, but he can never finish a game, and he hasn't really shown much. As much as I love Mechie, so I get it with the Noah Brown hype, but not over Olave. I just think that against Minnesota, I think Minnesota's offense is going to do pretty well. So I think that the Saints will need Mr. Chris. So I'm going with Olave. I understand why you're asking the question, but I'm going Olave. You're at the point where I feel like we say this every year. Maybe we said something different. I think every year. If my memory, I'm getting old, Rob.
We all are there, sir.
you get to a certain point of the season where just about there, where safe is a little better. You got to sometimes throw that Hail Mary. So, I mean, that's what we do at Answers by Guess, the inside scoop from outside the box. But you got to be smart about it, and you got to be safe. You drafted Chris Olave in the second round. You're in week 10. It's the first of the do or die weeks right here. I'm going safe, and I think it's probably going to be a better play regardless with Olave.
All right, let's go back at some games here. Detroit Lions at the Chargers. Yes or no? David Montgomery coming back. Will he have a touchdown?
Yeah, they're going to be able to run all over the Chargers.
Dude, I have a feeling that Gibbs, remember the Chain Mostert game? For some reason, I'm seeing something like that with these two guys. Big runs, both of them having multiple touchdowns. It kind of scares me because I have a lot of shares of Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I just think the run game's going to be able to do something here.
I think I could see the Lions blowing them out.
Especially that they got blown out last week. The Lions were not happy. All right, flip side of the ball, over under. Austin Eckler, 12.5 fantasy points, standard.
He only runs hard when they get inside the 5. If you look at any of his runs, like I was going back and watching last week, and I kind of remember from a couple weeks ago, but it seems like when it's not right near the goal line, he's not breaking tackles at all. But then you get him inside the 5 and he's running people over. Lions got a pretty good rush defense. Standard. I think he's got to get a touchdown to hit that. And then he's going to need, 62, 63 yards. It's tough because they'll throw him some screen passes. Let's go over. I don't like it, but I'm going to go over. I think it could be under, but I think that with no Palmer, I think they're going to need to check the ball down to him, and you get fantasy points for reception, or not receptions, but receiving yards. So, yeah, over.
All right, next game here. Atlanta Falcons at the Arizona Cardinals. Over under. Bijan Robinson all over the place this week in fantasy news. I went with receiving yards, 20.5 receiving yards. Over under.
You're getting good at this, Rob. Because this is a squeaky wheel gets the grease, or squeaky,
Yep.
A lot of talk about Bijan. Coach says, he does some good things away from the ball. And that's sort of like,
what?
Why don't you look over here? Because we're about to run over you with Bijan. However, this is receiving yards. And that's where it gets interesting. They're running two tight ends. Drake London's coming back.
Algier's been that guy, man.
Yeah. I'm going to go. Oh, God. All he's got to do is catch one and bust one. I'm going over. I was going to go under. And say I think he's going to have a good game and a nice fantasy bounce back for his owners, regardless of me saying under. But then I think about if they get him one in the flats and he breaks one tackle or jukes one guy, he's gone. He's over 20. So I'm going to go over because it's against Arizona, and you can do that. You can abuse them.
All right. On the flip side here, you talked about him before, Mr. Kyler Murray, 216.5 passing yards, over under.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so.
I was a big Kyler Murray fan.
I'm going to go under, but I hope so. But I hope he goes over. But I'm going to go under. I feel it might be around like 210, 180 to 210 in that range. The problem here is really Atlanta, because they want to slow the game down and run. If they stick with more of what they've been doing the past couple of weeks, we'll see. Is that a trend? If it is a trend, then they'll go a little up tempo. And if they can score quick and easy against Arizona, which of course is a possibility, then Kyler Murray's got to play catch up. I think that his receivers, Malcolm Brown, Are you kidding me? Remember?
I remember Malcolm Brown. He was the running back for the Rams.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I hated him so much.
You did. He always took who was Gurley's
It was Gurley
bird
for the Rams. Oh my God, Marquise Brown. I do think he'll do good. We'll see how he looks with Wilson. I like Trey McBride, but I do think that they try and run the ball regardless of who's back there. To take a little off of Murray's plate. So I think he's going to be around 210, I think. I'm going to go under, and I hope that I'm wrong.
All right. Next one here, Washington Commanders at the Seattle Seahawks. Over under, somebody that you mentioned, when he's in the game, he makes a difference. Mr. Antonio Gibson, 28.5 total yards.
Well, if they're smart, they will use him because I absolutely love Seattle in this game. I think back home, 12th man, after getting blown out last week, going against a defense that you can not only throw all over, but now you can run all over them because they got rid of their defensive line. But the problem is there's supposed to be a ton of rain in this game. If the rain comes early or gets pushed back late, this game is going to be a very, very good one for fantasy because Sam Howell is throwing the ball 40 times a game on average.
I love it.
So it's good for Dotson and McLaurin and Gibson. Now, I think Seattle's going to be able to score at will. If there's no rain, this is the easy over. If there's sloppy, wet field, gets a little more tough because then maybe Seattle's offense maybe stumbles a little and Washington doesn't have to go so crazy. But I'm going to go over because if they're smart, which they're not, Ron Rivera's not. He blows it every year with these guys. If they're smart, they will see that they are better when they use him.
I'm hoping. What's funny is that when I started this question, I had Brian Robinson Jr. And I'm thinking about it. I'm like, he mentioned Antonio Gibson. When they have Antonio Gibson on the field, he plays better. It seems like Brian Robinson's been stuck in the mud, I think was the words that you used exactly. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I agree with you. I have Antonio Gibson still starting in Dynasty because I have every single injury that's happened to me as far as running back. But
now, one thing I want to point out, Rob, you know what I'd like to see this week? I like to see that in our most important league, Fantasize Me, 3 of my former running backs were all taken during waivers. Mr. Jalen Warren, Antonio Gibson, and Keaton Mitchell. All 3 were picked up.
Oh, yeah.
I had to drop them.
You had so many running backs.
But you know what I've had more of than running backs?
What?
Injuries.
Oh, yeah. Dude, you can't get guys to last through a full game.
No, so I had to cut guys to pick up guys to fill in spots. And, I got Jonathan Taylor and Aaron Jones as my starting running back. So, I try.
That's the same thing with me, dude. I have Henry and ETN. I'm not taking them out. That's my go-to starting lineup. So
don't get me wrong. I wish I had Antonio Gibson still in that league and Jalen Warren and even Keaton Mitchell, but I had to get rid of them because it's, like you said, I had 7 running backs at one point.
I think, yeah. You definitely had the most running backs at one point.
But it worked.
Yeah, you got to a good place here now. All right, Commanders, still that same game. We're going flip side for the Seahawks. Mr. Kenneth Walker III, 11.5 fantasy points, half PPR, over under.
I'm going to go over because, like I said, you can run all over them. Mr. Charbonnet is coming on. I think they'll use both. Walker had a little bit of a rib issue, I guess, this week, but he's back to full. And I think he'll get a touchdown this week, and then he'll only need 55 yards to get the rest. So I think that's not even 55 because he could have a couple of receptions. So I'm going over. I like Walker a lot this week. Almost had him in DFS. Just recently took him out, put in Derrick Henry. It was $700 more, so I swapped a couple things around. But Walker, I love.
Yeah, rough week last week for him, man. All right. Leon, what's up, guys? What's up there, Leon? I'm late to the party. Don't worry about it. Thank you for joining us. An event Chase doesn't play. My options are Adams or Dubs. I don't like either in those matchups. Should I pick Demario Douglas instead? Thanks. Thank you for the hashtag, bud.
I like the idea about Douglas. We've got to see if there's any update. I know he was questionable, a little bit banged up. It definitely Adams over Dubs. You can't trust him at this point with Jordan Love, and I think Jets. I guess overall are better defense than Pittsburgh, but with it being a night game and Devontae Adams, I think has scored a touchdown in like the past 13 primetime games or something, 12 or 13. It's probably a good shot. I guess it's 50-50 because sooner or later what goes up must come down, right?
Oh yeah.
I like the Douglas, but then you got to drop somebody, and that's a whole nother conversation and heartache. I think that you should scoop Douglas. If you want to drop Dubs, I'm okay with that because just Jordan Love disgusts me as a Packers fan. But I'm going Adams because I'll take the Sunday night magic hope, right? Sunday, right?
Sunday night. Yep, against the Jets.
Yep.
They're at home too, which makes a difference. Remember, guys, always like, comment, and share. We appreciate every single one of you. All right, let's go back into the games here. Where am I at? Crap. There it is. All right. New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Yes or no, Mr. Saquon Barkley, 1 touchdown. Mr. Tommy DeVito, I think it's the 10th rookie quarterback to start this year.
I hope they start Matt Barkley. B, I hope he gets benched for Jacob Eason. Why would they continue to play DeVito?
I don't know.
He has not looked good at all. He scored a rushing touchdown on his first drive of his career. Since then, has been absolutely terrible. I don't know why they would even continue with him, especially at Dallas, the team that shut you out in week 1 and embarrassed you when all your fans thought you were going to the Super Bowl. Play Matt Barkley until you see how bad he is, and then play Jacob Eason. See if you have something. I don't think it's DeVito because you might want to move on from Daniel Jones if you can, as soon as you can. I know you got that contract there, but he's not it, unfortunately. And he can't stay healthy now. This is going to be so tough against Dallas. I'm going to say no.
All right. Going on the other side, the Dallas side. Over under Mr. Dak Prescott, 21.5 completions.
Yeah, Dak was my original DFS quarterback of the week. And then I thought about it and I said, well, how much will he really need to throw?
Mm-hmm. Dude, this is a trap game for me. It's 16.5 point spread. 16.5 points. That's the interdivision, man. I don't know. I know they destroyed him the first game, but
it's way too many points for a divisional rival. You're 100% correct. DeVito.
Yeah,
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. Sorry.
DeVito does Dallas.
Dude,
that would be the headline on the New York Post. If the Giants beat the Cowboys, it would be DeVito does Dallas. There would be a picture of him with his shirt off. DeVito does Dallas. Yeah, see, I feel like Dallas, they could get out to an early lead. They're going to have to in order to put, autopilot on. I think the defense will be able to do whatever they want. I think after last week's loss to the Eagles and how many chances and how Dallas should have won that game, I think they're going to take it all out on the Giants. It might get to the fourth quarter and Dak is not playing because they're going to be able to bench him because it'll be that bad.
Oh yeah.
I'd like Tony Pollard to finally have a good game in this one. The only good game that Pollard's had this year. Oh, yeah. The only good game he's really had this year was week 1. It was his best game against the Giants.
No,
Now he's at home, so I do like him in this one. You got to play CD. They got Jalen Tolbert finally involved last week. You're going to see him become a name.
Even Turpin looked bad. Didn't look bad either, man.
He did, but he's not Jalen Tolbert.
I agree.
Turpin has about 5 years on him, right? Because he was in Seattle for years. But yes, you're correct. And they got Cooks and they got Gallup, Ferguson.
Red zone Ferguson, man.
21.5 completions. I'm going to go under. Because I think they're going to be able to run Pollard as much as they'd like to. I think the defense is going to put them in some short fields where he's not going to have to throw the ball too much to get into the end zone. So I'll put him at like 20 for 28, which puts him under. I think that's all he'll have to throw it in this game is about 28 times.
Going on to my New York Jets at the Las Vegas Raiders. Over under Tyler Conklin, 2.5 receptions. He looks Conklin's way. I mean, the most targets obviously goes to Garrett Wilson, but Conklin's at least get targets.
I'll tell you who he should not throw to. Your boy, CJ Uzoma.
One of those.
He dropping everything.
Well, Conklin dropped the last week too.
He dropped one that he would have been able to rumble into the end zone. But Uzoma was laying in the end zone.
Bro, he kicked it like 3 times. He's like,
right in the
juggling act. Watch this juggling act.
Let's go over. Because I think the Raiders, that spark sort of carries over from last week. And they surprised some people with their offense in this one, Aiden O'Connell and AOC. And see if I think they'll be able to move the ball a little bit. Oh, there we go here.
Aiden O'Connell, 212.5 passing and rushing yards over under.
It's crazy because that's like the same number you had Kyler at, right? And I went under on Kyler, and I'm going to go over on Aiden O'Connell. I know Kyler's
defense.
Kyler was just passing. Yeah, because this game's going to go one or two ways. It's going to be back and forth, surprisingly, relatively high scoring with the offenses moving the ball. Or it's going to be the Jets defense. I think the Jets are going to be able to move the ball. They're not going to make the same mistakes they made last week. Alan Lazard played his worst game as a pro, like I talked about on Tuesday. Garrett Wilson had tons of drops. Breece Hall had a fumble. Wilson had a fumble going in. They were
Garrett had a fumble too,
almost at the red zone. Yeah. And the drop touchdown. So I think the Jets offense is going to be just fine. The Raiders defense is what it is. Max Crosby is what he is. I think they go in with a plan here. So I think the Jets are going to be able to move the ball. So I think, and then the defense will shut them down. So you're going to have Aiden O'Connell playing catch up or going tit for tat with Zach Wilson. So I'm going to go over. And you got that rushing in there. So it's like 30. Put him at about 18 yards, so 195 passing right around there. I think he can get to that.
All right, last game of the week here. Denver Broncos at the Buffalo Bills. Over under Mr. Javonte Williams, 11.5 fantasy points full PPR. Way over. Uh-oh. When we see the skyrocket go in the air, we know it's a way over.
The Bills can be run on. Javonte is coming off that bye. Super fresh, super clean, and he is going to do what he wants against this Bills defense.
All right, on the flip side of the ball here, Mr. Stephon Diggs, 86.5 receiving yards over under.
Because they're at home, I'm going to go over.
I agree. I think if they were in Mile High, I would have went under on this one too. But the fact that they're home, I agree with you. I think that's
and he was
it could be the first half for them too, to be honest with you. With Stephon Diggs getting that,
like 3 balls, 3 catches,
3 catches for like 89 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
we're on right here. We're here, bud.
I told you because you're like 15 minutes away from my house right now. I told you before I could feel you in my fingers and my toes.
All right, questions from the group. All right, producer, change the scenery. Okay. All right. Oh, boom. bow.
One more.
Ba-da.
Oh boy. Okay.
All right. Josh with the question here. Baker or Kyler Murray? Good question.
I feel the urge. I'm playing both of these guys in separate leagues. And I feel pretty good about both. But I'm going to roll with, roll with Baker, who's been doing it all year. If I had the ability to sit Kyler and just see for a week, I think that it's okay. We all can imagine, the first game back at home against a decent opponent at best, as far as defense goes for Atlanta. And we can envision it. Kyler doing it great and the crowd going wild, but I can also envision some negative. Baker, you could see some negative, but he's been rolling. He's got better weapons, and he's going against an easier pass defense. I'm going with Baker.
Baker, touchdown maker. All right, Michael with one here. I need 2 running backs and a flex out of the following 5 running backs: ETN, White, Aaron Jones, Gibbs, and Connor. I currently have ETN, White, and Jones in my lineup. Would you play Gibbs over any of them with Monty returning? And what about Connor if he returns this week? It sounds like Connor's more than likely, I don't think, going to play, man.
Yeah. I'm playing Aaron Jones. I like the way he's trending. And I'm playing Gibbs because I like how he's trending. I don't care that Montgomery's back. It's a great matchup. They now realize how to use Gibbs. And I think that they have realized throughout this week here that they can use both of them and how to use both of them. So I'm playing Jones and Gibbs. If I have to flex one of these, it's between Etienne and Rashad White. I could see both struggling a little, but I'll flex Etienne.
All right. T says, then let's add another piece to this same team. Would you roll with Taysom Hill, who's been on, or and start him, or Kittle? I like Taysom Hill, man. I know Kittle's a big name, and that I honestly think San Francisco is going to dominate. I think you have to go Kittle, but it's tough to sit Taysom Hill right now, in my opinion, dude.
Yeah, I'm going to play Taysom Hill. I was thinking, could you flex Kittle?
Oh, yeah, instead of ETN. That actually might be interesting. I think this is going to be one of those San Francisco games. They've lost 3 in a row. I think they're just going to want to beat up on Jacksonville. And unfortunately, Jacksonville's just going to have to take the brunt of it. Does Jacksonville keep up? I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I think you're right. I would probably play Kittle over ETN also.
Yeah, I think that's what I do. And I would just roll with the 2 tight ends. Zig when others zag type of thing, Nobody likes to do 2, but if you got 2 and one of them's Taysom Hill, guess what? You also now have 2 quarterbacks and you have 3 running backs and you have 2 tight ends.
Truth, man.
So that's Taysom Hill. He's all of them. So
oh, yeah.
I would probably do. I know Debo's back, but I think I would do that. I think I would. It's gonna be tough for ETN versus that defense.
San Francisco. Oh, yeah. All right, Jason with the question here. Losing streak needs to be snapped. Connor, Bijan, or Stevenson this week. JT is my other running back. Seems like no matter who I start, Bijan or Stevenson, the starter flops while the other sits on the bench and has a banner day.
Gosh. I really like Bijan this week, but I'm going to go with Stevenson. I'm going to go with Stevenson in Germany against the Colts.
All right, Spencer with one here. Who to start this week? 2 separate leagues, 1 starting quarterback. Top league is throwing 4-point rushing, 6-point touchdowns. Bottom is 6-point for both. First one is Stroud or Lamar.
Baltimore at home, and I think the Browns beat them up last time when it was in Cleveland. The Herbert one bothers me a little bit. I'm going to diversify no matter what. I'm playing Stroud in one. I want to play the other guy in another one, but I don't know if I like Herbert more than Stroud. So because of that, I'm going to go Lamar and Stroud.
I agree. I wouldn't start Stroud in both. All right. Hold on. Let me get my reading glasses on. Mid-season report, LOL sitting at 5-4, just 17 points from being in second. Good job, bud. Have won 3 in a row. I've been hit by injury bug, but still feel pretty good about my team, who now consists of QBs Stroud, Howell, and Murray, running back Stevenson, Kamara, Gibbs, and Fournette, wide receivers Godwin, Pittman, Kirk, Addison, and has Jefferson in his IR. Tight end Otten and IR Waller. Kicker Hopkins, defense Las Vegas. I stream defenses. I know it's not smart to have 3 QBs, but who should be the one getting the boot pretty much? Howell or Murray? Rather keep them away from other teams, honestly, and so on and so forth. Well, let's start with that. Let's get out of Howell or Murray. Who would you drop?
Who are you picking up? That has to be the question, Tim, because if you don't need anything else, which I'm looking, I don't know what's on the waiver wire, but I guess if there's a really solid running back, wide receiver, or tight end, I guess, even because you're only dealing with Otten, who's been fine, who's been good, then okay, you drop one of them. And who do I drop? It would either be Howell or Murray, obviously. Both of them also still have to have their buys. Week 13 for Murray, I believe. Week 14
for
Howell.
Yep.
But I don't want to drop Murray until I see what he looks like. So if you're just going to roll with Stevenson and Gibbs this week, or Kamara, I would probably go Stevenson and Gibbs. And then you're going to go Godwin, Pittman, and I guess maybe Addison. Then just roll with what you have. See how Murray looks, because you never know what could happen. I'm starting Kyler Murray in our most important league. I've had 3 quarterbacks get hurt and not finish a game. So now he's my 4th quarterback I'm using. So your question might answer itself if my luck continues to go the way it's going. So I would just wait. We're here. It's almost Saturday, a day away from games. Let's see how Kyler looks. Who knows what'll happen? If you don't have anybody out there to pick up, just hold on to them. Who cares if you have 3 QBs?
All right, wide receiver and flex, not really sure at the moment who to start. As of now, I have Addison, Pittman, and Kirkin, with Kamara and Stevenson in the running back slots, torn between Gibbs and the flex. Hope every one of you are all in first. Thanks for letting me post the book.
All right, well, I kind of answered. I'd go Godwin,
you did,
Pittman, and Addison. And I would go Stevenson. I would just play all 3 running backs.
Yeah.
Have the other one as your flex. I mean, I don't like him as much, but I kind of feeling him a little bit over Kirk.
Yeah, that San Francisco defense, I think it has something to prove this week, man. Yeah. All right, Dawn with a question here. With Nico likely out, would you play Schultz over Kincaid?
Dawn, I'm fine playing Schultz this week, even if Nico was playing. And it's quite possible that with Nico not playing, it might hurt Schultz. You got to remember, a lot of times we think, oh, this guy's out, this guy's going to be better. Well, no, because a lot of times that guy's taking some of the coverage. Over Kincaid is tough.
The target share that Kincaid's been getting lately. I mean, Schultz has 2, but...
Yeah. Kincaid's going to give you that Monday Night Magic. I'm fine with Schultz over Kincaid. I'm fine with it. Just because Khalil Shakir is finally coming on. Gabe Davis had a goose egg last week. That stuff is going to progress to the mean. So yeah, I'm fine. Play Schultz. That's good with me.
All right, Jeremy with the one here. I need a wide receiver with Higgins out. Here are the top free agent list. Anybody look good? Noah Brown, Demario Douglas, Bobby Trees, Irwin, Shakir, Slayton, Elijah Moore, or Dubs.
Yeah, I mean the obvious ones: Noah Brown with no Collins.
I liked Irwin, man. I picked up Irwin in a bunch of places.
I would actually probably, if Douglas is fine, if we can get rid of that Q, I'm going with him off this list, and Shakir is rounding out my top 3.
All right, Josue with the question here. I was offered this trade. I'm in first place, and he's currently in 9th trying to make the playoffs. Need to make a decision by tonight. I'm thinking keep what I have. 0.5 PPR, 6-point touchdown, 12 team. He would be giving away St. Brown, Williams, and Fields, and he would be getting Herbert, Wilson, Zay Flowers, and a chain. I had to make another one here. This is his current roster. Let me know. I'll go back to look at the trade again afterwards.
Just keep what you have. Just keep what you have. You're basically rolling with St. Brown, Olave, and Tyreek Hill. You're in first place.
That's a great starting lineup, man.
That's why. You're fine with Stroud. Fields will come back next week. You don't need Justin Herbert. Why are you going to take Garrett Wilson for Amon-Ra? No. Just keep what you have. You're fine. Javante's about to come back strong. Aaron Jones is coming on. Your running backs, I mean, Warren and Spears sitting there. Just stay with what you have. You're in first place. You don't need to make this move. He needs to. I'm just sitting. I'm sitting. Can you go back to his trade real quick? I just wanted to just make sure, because he's trying to get rid of Flowers. Like, I get it with Achane. You're also gonna have to drop somebody on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, the Javonte Williams, I agree with you. I think he's gonna actually be on the incline. I think he's gonna be getting some love. And then once Fields gets back, you don't have to worry anymore. Plus, you have Stroud already. So
yeah, I'm not doing that.
All right, let's set back up here. All right, I think that's it, Guess. I don't see any more.
Look at this. Under an hour. This is beautiful.
Nate says that we should just feed McBride. You know what? I asked Komet or McBride earlier on the week. You told me to go with McBride. I kind of like it because Komet didn't have the greatest of games, but I agree. I think McBride could be that safety net, like you called on Tuesday with Kyler.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So you went. I told you McBride. You went with McBride.
I went with McBride.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. And Craig had to drop out, dealing with a sick daughter. Hope she feels better, man. Appreciate you always joining in, bud. Thank you.
Always. Love it.
All right, guys. Remember, always follow us on Facebook. Look for us on YouTube, TikTok, Patreon, and on Spotify. Always look for those hashtags, Answers by Guess, and ABGFF and ABG3P. The merch is out there. Please, we are looking to get rid of some of these and share us, guys. Please share us. We're out there. I love it. I got to get mine. I got to figure out how I'm going to
You're 15 minutes away right now, man. Stop over. Press you a couple hot off the presses here.
I love
your dad to get one. Hook him up. Ricky. Let's get the whole family. Send Christmas pictures in your pajamas. You can take them in your ABG gear.
I love it. I love it a lot. All right, guys. Answers by Guess. Best of luck this week. And I guess would be available before the game, or I would say by tomorrow night. Any other questions, get in by tomorrow night, I would say, especially with the 9:30 game this week. So, all right.
Good luck. Listen to the dream.
Oh, yes. Dream.